All right.
We own.
Awesome.
I feel like I have the title wrong, but I'll figure that out later. Anyway.
What did you call it?
The destruction done by...
Yep. Nope. That's not wrong. That's perfect.
Is it part 4?
This is part 4, yeah.
Okay, so I am right.
Yep. And then I'm going to have one.
game.
And then I'm going to have one more after this. And then
Okay.
Carl is going somewhere else, because good Lord.
Hell.
This guy. Well, oh yeah, he's there. He's certainly there. Today we get into, like, some of his crimes.
Yay.
So.
All right.
I'm
well,
Emily.
Kelsey. Hey!
We did it today! You go first this time.
I was just trying to, okay, my name?
I don't know.
Are we starting over?
This is Mom Needs a Minute. Shit's already gone awry.
Yeah, it's the holidays. My whole brain is just like...
Mush?
It's not there.
Mush? Mine too.
Oh, God.
I would ask you why you need a minute, but I feel like that's maybe part of it.
It is. I'm just... As shitty as it sounds, I'm just ready for it all to be done.
Yeah.
I'm ready to not have to travel every weekend. As much as I love seeing family, God, I'm tired.
We're working our way into one of our busiest travel times of the year. It's wrestling season, baby.
Yeah, but at least most of the time you get to come home.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, having to stay places all the time.
Oh, I don't like doing that.
No, so we're constantly packing up, unpacking, packing up, unpacking, leaving the cats and all of that, and it's like...
If there is something that I hate in this world, it is feeling like I'm living out of a suitcase.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's it. And nothing against, like, my family or Michael's family or anything. It's just I like to be home.
I am a homebody. I want to be at home with my cat and my blankets and my things.
Yeah. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally get it.
So close to done.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
I feel like I actually had another thing, though. Hold on. I write all this down.
Okay, well, while you're looking for that, ask me why I need a minute.
Why do you need a minute?
Because I got another chip in my windshield.
Well,
I
live
just
on
had
gravel.
I just had it replaced in June. My entire windshield got replaced in June.
Yeah, how big is the chip this time?
This one's not too bad, and I think I'm gonna go in to the dealership tomorrow to see if they can just fill it in, but
yeah.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It hasn't even been 6 months, and I have another damn chip in here. So. And because I had to replace my windshield the last time, I'm like paranoid that they're going to tell me the same thing this time, and I'm going to be like, yeah, well, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do that twice in 6 months.
No, and if it's small enough and not going to do anything and cause any damage, there's no point.
That's the part that I'm afraid of, is like, I don't want it, especially because it's winter now, I don't want it to spider out really bad.
Yeah, Michael has a few on his windshield and it hasn't happened, and he parks outside.
Yeah. Thank God for my... Oh, I have to take Toulouse to the vet tomorrow, too.
What's going on now?
Well, he's not gaining any weight.
Man, I'm jealous, but anyway.
And my mom thinks that he has that fruity breath that people apparently with diabetes have, which I didn't know was a thing until she said that. And then she was like, I think he might have diabetes. And she smelled his breath right before we went on vacation. And I didn't notice it then. And then as soon as we got back and I was like snuggling him closer, I was like, oh, I kind of do notice it now. So it hasn't gone away. So we're going to have blood work and like a whole panel drawn up on him tomorrow. So
I'm really surprised you got your way with that with Patrick.
Toulouse is so sad looking that I don't think, like, Patrick didn't have the choice to tell me that we're not doing this.
Yeah, I just remember him talking about like the cats previously, and
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But
yeah,
he can see that something's wrong, and he loves animals, so he can see something is wrong, and he wouldn't
yeah,
want Toulouse to like suffer if he doesn't have to. If we can take him in.
yeah, and especially after what happened with the other kitten, that would be really hard to have to.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I'm not doing it again if I can help it this
mm-mm,
time. So we're taking him.
no,
I'm taking him in tomorrow, and they're gonna do a whole like panel and everything on him. Make sure, see if even if we just have to change his diet or something, you know.
yeah,
So I don't know. We're gonna figure it out, and I feel bad for
yeah.
him. So
Well, when I was there, he had quite the energy.
did he?
Well, he ran out in the entryway, and I tried to catch him.
Oh, he knows that their wet food is out in the entry.
Well, yeah, but he
So
ran for me, and I caught him, and I was very convinced I was gonna end up with. I don't remember what I said at the time.
oh okay.
Oh, I couldn't tell the difference between them two.
Mm, well, Georgia looks healthy, and Toulouse does not.
That's fair.
Toulouse is also the one that sleeps sitting up like a gargoyle. So,
Well, his fur is different too.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not as like soft. He's kind of more like he's got more coarse fur than Georgia does. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. Oh,
Oh,
what is that face for?
it tasted weird.
What are you drinking?
Wine.
Why does it taste weird?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a cup or if it's because it was in the fridge. I have no idea.
Hmm.
Still gonna drink it, but whatever.
Okay, all right. Well,
Okay.
are we ready for part 4 of this uh, just absolutely terrible human being? This fucking train wreck.
I don't. I don't know if ready is the word, but we're doing it.
We're gonna have one more after this, and that's where I have to stop it because my brain will not allow me to continue on anymore. Again, so as with the other 3 and whatever, this being number 4, trigger warning for everything, except animal abuse in this one. Like there's burglary, rape, arson, sodomy, murder, all the things. So trigger warning for that. And as we've said before, if that's not something you're okay with, feel free to just skip this series entirely, and we will see you with the next or with the next one.
Nope.
So
Well,
the one after the next one.
yeah.
Yeah. So we are good with that. I understand that Carl can be a fucking lot. I think, look, I'm on page. Can you see it? 62. You see that? 62.
Kinda. The light's a little rough, but
I know.
I
I was
get
trying
it.
that. Yeah, but I'm on page 62 of this, of my notes here, and I just. Oh, Carl. Okay. All right. So, do you remember where we left him? He had just burned down the one, right? He, he got the gonorrhea that he was really pissed. He was going to Denver, and then he went to the doctor before his wiener healed back up. He was thrown into jail again for stealing a bike. All that, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then then he gets the shit kicked out of him by the Kansas State militia soldiers because he went to the campsite and tried to steal something, and then he threw one of the soldiers into a trough, and then he was gonna beat him up a little more, and then 9,000 more came running to his rescue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he leaves there, he gets a job for the Chicago Central railroad line as security to help break up all the strikes and all of that stuff, right?
Yep.
And he's loving it. He loves it because he gets to beat the shit out of all these people, right? So
Yep.
he had just learned how strong and capable he was, which only was starting to give him more and more confidence. And he was still working near St. Louis for the Illinois Central Railroad Company to help break up the strikes that were really negatively impacting the company. And he was, like I said, loving it because he was being paid to beat the shit out of people. So within a week of working here, he basically beats all of the strikers into submission. Which, I mean, go Carl, I guess. Doing your job. Now, there is no way to tell if Carl was the cause of the strike ending. But, quote, by the end of the week, there was so much fear of the man that many strikers only had to see his mean stare before they turned tail and headed back to work. So, Carl, who really thought he found his calling finally, he was too good at it. And the strike ended, so they didn't need him anymore, and they fired him, and they sent him on his way.
Oh, goodness. That's going to be lovely.
Mm-hmm. He did get paid pretty decently, so he has some money to get him by for a little bit. So by this time, the entire town that he was in here in St. Louis really fucking hated him because most of the people that he was beating up were people from town or people with friends or, whatever, loved ones. So everybody hates him, but, he thinks he's all big, tough, and indestructible, so he doesn't really care. So he takes the money that he got paid for and goes to town to get some booze. And, quote, the next Saturday night, being paid payday and me having a few bucks in my pocket and feeling pretty good, I decided to go uptown and get a few drinks and then go see what the girls in the red light district had to offer, end quote. So he's ready to rock and roll.
Girls, though.
I guess. Girls, yeah, he said the girls in the red light district. So it's like, okay, Carl, but I don't think he actually finds a girl. I might have to plug my internet back in.
Yep.
Okay, so the people in town are not dealing with it. They fucking hate Carl. And they're like, you don't get even our red light district, homie. Okay. Are we still good?
Yep.
Okay. I plugged my internet back in.
Okay.
So. Okay.
There. So you started lagging, and I was like, oh, shit. It's coming.
Oh, no. Are we good, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So all the people in town were like, absolutely fucking not. You don't even get the girls in our red light district. So Carl wanders into a bar and he's just chit-chatting with some fucking people, and he meets a man who tells Carl that he will take him to meet up with a, quote, nice woman, but he needs to call her first, and he convinces Carl to follow him to the phone. Naturally, Carl, have we not learned better yet, my friend? Right? Carl. So Carl follows him, and they're walking around town in the phone to go to the phone, and then as they round a corner, wouldn't you know it, Carl runs into a bunch of this man's friends.
Aww.
Quote, about a dozen big husky mad Union strikers. And they were really ready to see if Carl was as strong as he thought he was.
Oh, he's not as smart.
Carl. I thought we had learned to not follow strangers, Carl, at this point. But apparently not. So, quote, they cleaned me up in great shape, and then the cops came and finished the job by throwing me in the can, end quote. So once again, he finds himself behind bars, and he doesn't stay there very long. And as soon as he is released, he decides he's getting the fuck out of St. Louis now. He's bye, peace out. Probably for the
Yeah,
best,
it's a good
Carl.
plan, buddy.
I know. As soon as I was reading that, I was like, oh, why would you follow this person? Like, you deserve to get the shit kicked out of you.
Well, he does
But,
anyway, though.
come on. Yeah. So Carl leaves St. Louis, and because of the treatment that he had received and the fact that he wasn't there long before he was thrown in jail, he actually still had a fair amount of money in his possession from being paid. And so once again, he finds himself hoboing around, and again, he's ready to keep victimizing anybody that he comes across. So remember from the last episode how adamant he was that he was not gay?
Yeah. But women are gross.
Women are gross and dirty, and all of his victims are men, but he's not gay. It never changes. That just never changes. So among his travels here, he spends a lot of time with large homeless populations, and he comes across a ton of men who have a criminal history, naturally, but here, and I think they're between St. Louis and Jacksonville, Texas, which seems like it's roughly halfway between DFW and Houston. So
Okay.
it's kind of on the lower one corner of Texas, kind of. He meets a whole new kind of these men than he was used to running into. There's a whole new breed of these fuckers. Okay, so these people, and I don't know if this is the legitimate term for him or if this is what he called them, or I mean, it's not a legitimate term, but like a legitimate like slang term or something. He called them the Yeg, like YEGG. I don't know. Yeah, I've never heard of it before.
I wonder if it stands for something.
And so I don't know. Because they are, quote, an older male criminal who kept a young boy, which are honestly, I think, is just a really old timey way of saying human trafficking. Yeah. So these young boys are children, obviously, right? Oh my god. I can't get comfy in my couch. It's not the big comfy couch. Okay. So they use these young boys or children as tools, basically, especially within the like thievery aspect of it, because they were smaller and they could squeeze themselves into tighter spaces. So if they need to burglarize or want to burglarize something, or have a sneak attack on somebody or something like that, then these kids are the ones that are doing all that stuff, right? And unfortunately for these kids, that would be the easiest part of their, quote, job, because they were, as you can probably guess, very frequently being sexually assaulted violently, and they were treated as property to be traded amongst the other Yangs. And so Carl is like, hell yeah, fuck yeah, I like this, right? But he's not gay. So he finds one for himself, and he calls it, quote, this is in Carl's words from his book called Butchering Humanity, quote, one of the most beautiful curly-haired, blue-eyed, rosy-cheeked fat boys that I have ever seen in my life, and I have seen some nice boys. Carl was fucking enamored by this kid.
Not gay at all, though.
Nope. He never bothers to learn his name, and Carl just calls him his boy, like boy. And so I don't know what his name was, but I feel bad for him. So him and his boy are traveling, but yeah, like I said, I don't know his name, and I would use his name if I had one, but Carl is a dirtbag. So Carl and his boy are now traveling around and stealing anything they can put their sticky little mitts on. And he eventually gets them all the way to Jacksonville, Texas. And they get caught by police breaking into a house. Quote, I only put this quote in here because it just kind of made me laugh. Just because of the way he phrases things sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Quote, the cops took all my guns but left me my boy. I just think he's kind of funny sometimes. I mean, he's a fucking horrible person. I think the way that, and left me my boy.
Well, I mean,
they took my guns and left my boy.
I don't know what they would have done with the boy, but I think they're more worried about him having guns.
You would think. So Carl and his boy get sent to jail. And again, Carl is strapped up. Yeah, Carl. Yeah, they sent this boy to this poor kid. Okay, because it gets worse for him. So Carl is strapped up again to another chain and forced to work on a road crew this time. So again, they're pissing him off, making him mad,
and making him stronger.
Yep. Yep.
What the heck?
Yep. Quote, when we got to the road gang, they gave me a chain to wear on my leg and took my boy away from me. He's very concerned about this kid in a weird way. He's like, I want my kid. I want to make sure I have my kid. To me, it's like a weird way of almost concern. Almost.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the capacity to be concerned, but
yeah, like he's partly wanting to have a responsibility over something or somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is the first time that he's ever like been like, no, give that back. That's mine. Give it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's like, I'll just go and get another one.
Yeah.
You took my guns. I'll go and steal another one. And like, unfortunately, he would have the opportunity to say kidnap another boy and have another boy.
But it may not
he's
be
like,
the same.
No, I want exactly. He's like, no, I want that one back. Give me my boy.
I want that one.
Give me my boy. That's mine. Yeah, I don't know. So it's like, it's a weird kind of like, they took my boy. Where it's like, I can kind of like, it's just a weird thing to like. He just wants his boy. Give him his boy.
Yeah, like an object.
But also, yeah, but also, don't give him his boy. You know, like, let the boy go. Reunite him with his parents. But do they do that? No.
No.
Carl, the man that Carl called the boss man, or Mr. Moore, really liked Carl's boy. So he took the boy to hang out in his tent for a couple weeks. And Carl is furious that this Mr. Moore took his boy and were hanging out in his tent. They weren't hanging out. Mr. Moore was also violently assaulting his boy. Yep. So the boy was trapped in his tent for weeks until the boss man finally gets bored of the boy and sends him back out into like the general population, hoping, because he wanted the inmates to fight over the boy. But in this time, because he wanted to see the inmates hurt each other. Okay. But in this time, where the boss has his boy, Carl has scared the shit out of everybody there. And so they're all so scared of Carl that everybody just goes, no, you can have him.
Not it.
It's Carl's boy.
Nose goes.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, I'm good, Carl. You can have him. So everybody is so fucking scared of Carl that they give him his boy back.
Here you go. Here you go.
And he got his, and you know, he loves a good retaliation, right? He never retaliates for this because he got his boy back.
Because he got what he wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He gets his boy back.
Maybe I need to start retaliating a little bit when I don't get my way.
Did I show you my new cup?
No, I like that.
I got it in Cancun. Okay.
Really? Couldn't tell by the little lizards on there.
By the gigantic neon-colored lizards all over it. Chameleons. Didn't see a single chameleon, by the way.
Yeah, because they blend in.
Of massive iguanas. Like,
oh, yeah, they're huge.
Like 3 feet long. They're fucking huge. I've never seen
They're like legit dinosaurs.
Yeah, and one scared the shit out of me so bad that I had to jump into a pool. Well, because I was trying to walk near it, and it looked and took a step at me, and I was like, "We're not playing
Nope.
this game, Mister. You have your space. I will walk away. I will get away from you. I'm apologizing." Okay, so Carl gets his boy back, and he had been sentenced to 40 days in the prison, right? He had been sentenced to 40 days for that crime that they had gotten caught for.
Yeah.
And he's quiet. He's doing that his mean mugging thing where he's getting the shit kicked out of him, but he's not complaining. He's not giving anybody any form of pleasure in his pain. And so now he's done his 40 days, and he's ready to leave. He knows his time is up, and he's like, okay, I would like to be released now. Boss man goes, go fuck yourself. You're staying here. And so obviously Carl is super fucking pissed, but is he going to let anybody know right now?
Oh.
No. He's keeping this one to himself.
He's going to come in blazing.
Yeah, guns a-blazing, Carl. So he tries to escape that very day. That boss man says, no, you're fucking staying here. And obviously gets caught, and so he's punished even more, even though he should have been a free man at that point.
I mean,
because they're like, fuck you, you're staying here. He should have been a free man at that point. He had done his time, and they should have let him go.
Yeah,
and so he's like, I'm gonna go. And so now they're like, oh, you were escaping. Shame on you. Punishment. It's like, okay, so first of all, there's a lot wrong with that. But Mr. Bossman here literally only kept him so that he could beat the shit out of him some more.
He deserves it.
I'm not saying that he doesn't. I'm saying, like, he should have been behind bars from the time he was 16 until his death. Okay, nobody should have let him out into the public. I'm going to give him up until 16 because he's a fucking child.
Yeah.
But until he should have stayed in there until his death. However, at this point, Carl should have been free because he served his time.
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah, but
yeah,
in our heads, no.
They punish him. Yeah, so they decide to punish him, obviously, for trying to escape, with something called the snorting pole. Do you want to know what a snorting pole is?
You know, there's a lot of images in here right now, and I don't think they're correct.
I'm willing to bet that you do not have the image of this thing in your head.
No, probably not. I don't know if I want to.
All right. Well, you're gonna have it. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. So,
yay!
And you have headphones on, so you can't plug your ears or anything.
I can take my headphones off. It's like taking off my ears. Aha!
I'll just call you. Okay. So, the snorting pole is a 12-foot tall pole dug into the ground, right? With a rope through a hoop at the top.
Okay.
And that rope is also laced through a pair of handcuffs. So they strip the prisoner naked and put them in these handcuffs, and then they hoist the prisoner up by his arms up the pole until he is standing on his tippy toes and beat the shit out of him while they're naked and have their arms like strung up so they are like hooked to this pole, and they keep pulling them up higher and higher, making them stand on their tippy toes the entire time.
What way are the arms, though? Is it this way?
I think it just depends on the mood of the guard at the time. But can you imagine if you had your hands in your back to the back and they are lifting you up like... I know, my shoulder... I'm sitting here trying to like do it on my couch, and my shoulder is hurting already. Yeah. So I think it just kind of depends on the day.
Socket.
Oh yeah. So it just kind of depends on the day, I think, as to which, like, if they go in front of you or behind you, as far as your arms go. So, eventually, yeah. And Carl gets this fucking treatment, like, every day, because, you know, he's not giving them what they want from him, so
Yeah, I don't feel
they're gonna
bad
keep
though.
beating him. No. And, I do think this is a little bit bad, considering he was put in here for a burglary charge. This feels like a lot for a burglary charge. I don't feel bad,
Yeah.
but I feel like this is a lot for. This is an overreaction, especially because you were supposed to release him and you didn't. Like, this, in my opinion, this is an overreaction. He deserves it,
But
but this particular incident seems like too much.
yeah. I think they
Punishment
like
doesn't fit the crime.
made I think they may know about some of his actions. They just don't have the proof, and this
Yeah,
is their way of,
probably.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and you know, he's being a terrorist. He's beating everybody up. He's kicking the shit out of everybody, like in the prison during the days and stuff. Like they were so afraid of him that nobody took his boy when they
Yeah.
finally released him. Like he's not being a nice prison. Like he's not being a nice person in jail, but for the crime of burglary and for not letting him out on time and him trying to leave, this feels like an overreaction.
Definitely. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So eventually he does get released, but he deals with this snorting pool like every single day for weeks until they finally release him.
Why do they call it that?
I I don't know. Do you maybe squeal like snort like grunt like when you get your shoulders popped? I don't know. I have no fucking clue.
Okay.
Okay. So he's released and he is like, fuck this. And he leaves Texas, which is what I would also do.
Yep.
He goes all the way to Oregon. He's all the way up in Oregon now. He works there for a little while, just random odd jobs, and then decides he's going to make his way down the coast to California while robbing, burglarizing, stealing, whatever, and burying his treasures along the way. So he can come back for them whenever he wants. It's like a pirate, like an X marks the spot. Yeah. I've actually only ever heard one other criminal that has done this successfully, and arguably he's more terrifying to me than Carl is. So, yeah.
Okay.
So Carl has all of these little stashes of money, guns, weapons, jewelry, everything he's stolen, just buried for later. He can come back to it along his travels.
Okay.
Yeah. So he ends up in jail along this way a few more times because obviously he fucking does, just for the basics: burglarizing, robbery, rape, sodomy, all of the his quote normals, basically, right?
Yes.
So he's getting so fucking frustrated. Ooh. Are we glitching here a little bit?
Yeah, we've got some issues.
Okay, hold on. Let me try to unplug this again and see if that. Okay. Well, we'll keep trying. So I'm going to start that paragraph over. So he ends up in jail a few more times along the way. Eventually, he's so fucking frustrated by getting caught all of these times. He's burglarizing, you know, from Oregon down the California coast and stuff. And he's frustrated, but he's burglarizing. There's robberies, there's arson, there's rape and sodomy, there's just his normal Carl nonsense. And he's in jail a few times, and he's so fucking frustrated that at one point, are you ready for this? I need you to stop taking a drink.
No, I'm not, but okay.
He's so frustrated. He's so frustrated and so mad and so angry that he manages to bend the bars of his cell and escape his cell. But he doesn't leave the cell, or he doesn't leave the prison, and he went on a spree of beating the shit out of the guards and lighting the prison on fire. However, he had managed to like essentially jam every single door, so it was very hard for anybody to get out of there. um, and then he gets caught because Carl, he's gonna get caught. And the guards have had fucking enough of him and break both of his ankles with hammers.
Huh. Huh. I don't even know.
Was there any part of that sentence that I just said that you were prepared for?
No. No.
I know, right?
I want to be able to do that.
Carl!
Like, break myself out of jail?
To be so mad that you bend the prison bars?
Those things are thick.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be bent.
No.
Carl is fucking he's really strong.
But out of everything, they do that to him?
Yeah, break his ankle. There's a reason I had to say it so fast, because, yeah, breaking both of his ankles with hammers is just too much for me. Do you think that they give him any medical attention after this? Absolutely not. And he is actually instead transferred to a prison in Oregon and gets treated even worse.
That's possible?
Yes. Yeah. He's in trouble here. And this is totally not relevant to this at all, but in this prison, he has a guard that is like especially assigned to him, and he specifically only ever went by the name Vinegar.
Why?
Which I have no idea.
Vinegar.
I just thought that was kind of a fun fact.
Okay.
Vinegar.
Okay.
Yeah. So at this prison, Carl starts another fire, steals an axe, chases the guards around, and breaks open as many other inmates' cells as he can for them to also escape. He has fucking had it.
There's no point even putting him in jail anymore. Like,
so that's kind of how the superintendent of this jail feels. He's like, the fuck are we gonna do with this guy? So they throw him into what they call the dungeon, which is essentially just a blacked out solitary confinement cell for 61 days.
Holy shit.
And quote, food was not provided. He had to scrabble about in the darkness for cockroaches to eat.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but see, now Carl is a little bit thinner, so getting out of those prison windows might just be a little bit easier, huh?
What?
So, yeah, so after he gets out, he doesn't sneak out of the window, but he does help one inmate escape through one of those windows. And the inmate that he helped escape, I think his name was Otto, something like that. Otto, maybe. The only reason we know that is because of this here. So the inmate, Otto, goes to the nearest town, steals a gun, and murders the superintendent of the prison. So while Carl wasn't the one who did the actual killing, this is the first of many murders that he has to his name. And they charge him for the murder of the superintendent.
Really? Huh.
Yep. I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure the other guy got, like, also shot and killed by, like, guards and stuff, you know?
Okay.
But he had shot and killed the superintendent, so they figured they needed to hold somebody accountable for it, and it was fucking Carl.
They really wanted him to stay in there longer?
Well, they gave him 7 years. All of this extra destruction that he has caused. And they gave him 7 years.
Okay. How old is he right now?
And this is Ooh, I think he's in his 20s. I think he's only in his
Oof.
20s right now.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's like mid 20s,
7 years.
26-ish.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he would get out when he is younger than me.
Still.
If he decided to spend all of his time in there.
Decided.
But obviously he fucking
Yeah.
doesn't. Well, yeah, but at this point it is his decision, I think. Unfortunately for Carl, the interim superintendent of the prison is the original superintendent's brother, and he is real big mad at Carl.
Yeah.
So things start to really go shit go sideways for Carl here. This superintendent is so fucking pissed at Carl that he takes Carl and any other prisoner that has gotten in trouble, and he draws a big circle on the floor. And he makes Carl and all of the other inmates put their hand on the shoulder of the man in front of them and walk around this circle for 14 hours a day. If you stepped outside of the circle, you were shot on sight. If you dropped your hand from the man's shoulder in front of you that you're holding, shot on sight. If you like pass out or you can't do it or what for whatever reason, shot on sight.
Okay. But at that point, don't you just want to die?
Oh, do you think Carl wants to? No, he wants to.
No, I'm not talking about him.
Yeah.
Not him. I know he don't want
Yeah.
to. I'm talking about the other ones, the normal ones, kind of, probably,
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, all the ones that were like in solitary and whatever that were real problems.
And they just got drug in there just because.
Yeah. Mostly to torture Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who comes up with shit like that?
The regular superintendent's brother, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm just like, how did he just like lay down in bed one day and be like, haha,
I know
I
what
got
let's
it.
do. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think that about a lot of things.
It's kind of like musical chairs.
Yeah, it's the most it's like the Saw version of musical chairs.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
so,
it just doesn't
so
stop.
there
There's
are
no
a lot
stopping.
of people that don't make it out of this fucking bullpen circle. The bullpen is what they called it.
That would have been me.
There's a lot of people that don't. Oh yeah, me too. I would have just laid down and been
Fuck
like,
no.
you know
Shoot
what?
me.
I'm done. Count me out. I am all finished here. Thank you.
Tell my family I love them.
Yep. So at this point, the state is now forced to take action among this guy because this is too much. And and at this point,
the line has to be drawn.
And at this point, they do remove him as superintendent. And so a new guy takes over. His name is Murphy. Okay. Murphy destroys this punishment and banned solitary confinement and essentially removed all of those kinds of punishments. In Carl's book, I believe, he says the worst punishment you would get is having to peel potatoes for dinner. So he's like, this is not, like, this violence is not against these people, this is not working. Let's try a new tactic. All right, obviously it's not working. Carl. So.
Yeah.
So it gets to the point where Murphy can tell that Carl is the main fucking instigator in his prison. And he's like, hey, dude, I would like to have a conversation with you. Will you please meet me in my office? And so him and Carl start talking, and Carl's like, you're not gonna fucking nice your way out of this. You're not gonna change me. By you being soft is not gonna turn me soft. Like, go fuck yourself. And so he keeps talking to Carl like a normal human being. And Carl is like, you're not gonna win here, sir. And it gets to the point where Murphy gives him this option to, if he promised to return by dinner, Carl could leave during the day. He could go around town. He could go have a drink at the bar. He could enjoy the sunshine. He could, if he promised to return by dinner.
That's like work release without the work.
Basically, yeah.
He's saying, go have a good time, but come back at this time. Yep. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, it's like in the 80s and 90s. In the 80s and 90s, it's like when the streetlights come on. What is happening with my light now? It's pissing me off. Okay, whatever. Okay, and Carl is obviously like, well, fuck yeah, man. I'm not a dummy. I'm gonna do that. So he leaves. The first opportunity he gets, he leaves, obviously. And yeah. And he is fully intending on hopping on a train and getting the fuck out of there. What is wrong with my fucking light right now? Do you see how it's like working and then it just dims really easy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pissing me off. I don't know. Doesn't matter, I guess. Okay. So, Carl fucking leaves, and his goal on this first leave is to find the first train out of there. Obviously.
Bye. Yeah.
Peace out, Murph. But he doesn't. He's like so confused by this whole fucking thing. He spends the whole day like sitting in the like trees, just thinking like, what the fuck is happening? And he goes back at dinner time, and he keeps his promise. And so, yeah. So this behavior actually keeps up for quite some time. And it gets to the point where Carl is on like the baseball team for the prisoner baseball team, and like in the band, and when he doesn't learn how to play an instrument, he makes Carl the band director, or the conductor.
Oh, yeah.
So he's just giving Carl all of this like responsibility. And Carl is just sitting there like, what the fuck is happening? Like, seriously, what the fuck is happening?
He's making him his pet.
Carl is just kind of sitting there like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, because nobody's ever been kind to him or treated him like a human before. So he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. So what he is doing in the meantime is he is teaching the other inmates in the meantime how to take the buckets of pails and old sheets from their beds and turn them into grappling hooks that they can throw over the fence around the outside and escape.
Okay, yep, I should have expected something negative.
Oh, yeah, of course. You think Carl's here he's very confused. He has no idea what's going on. He's ready for the other shoe to drop at any minute. But he's just like, it never drops. And so he's just confused as shit. It's not going to stop him from being a monster, but he's really fucking confused. I'm confused. I know, right? But it seems to be working, really. Because he's leaving.
Kind of.
This goes on for months.
Well, like, he's teaching all the other inmates how to escape.
But he keeps coming back. And he's not beating anybody up. He's not doing his normal bullshit. I mean, he is teaching them how to make grappling hooks out of their blankets. But that's like the worst thing he's doing.
So I wonder if it's like, okay, so he has a home, so he can leave,
within the prison, because
go home,
not sleeping outside.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. He has a solid place to go,
crash for a while. I have no idea.
I don't know.
And I see where Murphy is coming from here. Like, let's treat him like a fucking animal, or like not like an animal if we don't want him to act like an animal. Let's treat him like a person if we want him to act like a person. And that's kind of what started happening here.
So treat them opposite of what everyone else has and see what the reaction is to that versus what it was before.
Bingo.
Yeah, makes
Yep.
sense.
And it seems to be working. And Murphy is feeling pretty fucking good about himself. And all of the guards are like, dude, what kind of magic is this? Right? And so obviously, Carl cannot handle this kindness. This goes on for 6 months or so. And Carl cannot fucking handle it anymore. And one night he gets ready to leave and he's like walking right out like he normally does, right? None of the guards thought anything about it. He was allowed to just kind of walk right past them until he throws a grappling hook up over that wall and climbs up over the wall and goes on the run. And so all of the guards are trying to chase him. And I think I read that there were like 200 shots fired from the guards at Carl, and not a single one of them hit him. So he really is kind of indestructible, in my opinion.
So why did he climb the wall instead of just walking normal?
Not a clue. Maybe to prove that he could still do something terrible.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Stir up the pot there or whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh. That's kind of what I think. I have no idea though. But
he needed excitement.
This is yeah, I think that's really what it was. So this is the point where he starts going by different aliases. There's no way to tell how many he had. Yeah. But this time he's using them a lot faster. So there's no way to tell how many he had because he's using a different one in every town that he like ends up in. So he's not giving anybody the same name ever. So there's no way to know how many aliases he actually went by.
That's crazy.
But I think his official number that he claims is like 6 or 7. So those are, in my opinion, those are the ones that he probably went by for the longest or like the most often. Like if he goes as John Smith to town A and then Bob Smith to town B and then goes back to John Smith, you know, and he just likes that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he claims like 6 or 7.
Interesting.
But he's going through them like underwear, I guess. But this time is in my opinion, the one and only time Carl ever feels even an ounce of remorse because Murphy got fired by his escape or because of his escape. And he was the only person that had ever really been kind to him. And so Carl felt bad that he had Carl felt bad that he had gotten Murphy fired.
Well, what the hell did he think was going to happen?
So that's like the one and only time I think Carl has ever felt an ounce of remorse in his life. So. Yeah. So he heads back to Texas. Because obviously he's not done terrorizing Texas. And he spends time in and out of prisons for all his same bullshit, always escaping until he finally decides, I better get a job. And since I'm going to get a job. I'm going to be gainfully employed. And since the U.S. Army, and since you're going to love this, and since the U.S. Army obviously won't take him because of his conduct in his past, he thinks, I have an idea. And he crosses the border into Mexico and tries to join the Mexican Army.
Tries. He didn't succeed, though, I'm guessing.
No. They were like, you're an American. We don't want you. And so they send him on his way, and he's, they're like, peace. We don't want you. You're American. Leave.
Go eat some chips and salsa and head on home.
Yeah, get you a typical shot of Mexican tequila and leave. And so he comes back to the United States, and he's back in Texas, and he's on the fucking trains again, shooting his shit like he always does, right? Okay. Now, trigger warning here. As he's on these trains, he sees a man who obviously it's Texas, there's a lot of fucking oil, right? So this man is walking around with a pretty full envelope of money because he had just gotten paid from working on the oil fields. And Carl is like, I'm running pretty low on fucking cash. Forget what I said about getting a legitimate job. I've changed my mind on that.
Terrible idea.
I'm I'm going to get the cash from that guy. So he jumps off the train and he goes over to the guy. He starts beating the shit out of him. He rapes him violently several times. And because the man is obviously fighting back, but they're in the middle of the fucking desert, so there's nobody around to help him. Carl is getting frustrated because he is fighting back really, really hard. And Carl grabs his throat until he was done horrifically assaulting and beating him. And when he's done, he realizes that he has killed this man. And so this is the first actual murder that is like attached to him.
His hands,
I personally don't think this is possibly his first murder. It can't be, in my opinion, with all of the other bullshit that he's... But this is the first one that's, like, actually attributed to him. And the first one that he claims. Well, and I think it might be
the first one that he actually witnessed. You never know. He could have left half of the, did his shit and left.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, too, is there were a lot of deaths because of his actions. So this is the first murder that he has actually committed with his bare hands right in front of him. But I do think this is... I don't think this is the first time he murdered somebody. He just maybe didn't know about
There's
him.
no way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, especially, like, he's Carl with all this bullshit that he's done. No, it can't be. So this is his first actual physical murder. There was the one where they charged him for the superintendent, and now there's this one. Carl fucking loves this feeling because wow, did this give him so much control. So now, change of plans. He's staying in the US. He doesn't want to go back to Mexico anymore. He's staying here. And he decides, let's ride this high and we're going to go to New York now because our boy is a rambling man. He's all over the place. Yep.
That is quite far from his usual, though. I don't think he's been over there yet, has he?
No, he has not been to the East Coast yet. I don't think so. Nope. He spends a fair amount of time here, which is just what he decides in New York. He decides that he would like to be even more of a menace because why not? Now he has murdered somebody with his bare hands and he fucking loves that control. So what can he do to be more of a menace? In his journeys around New York, he's like up in New York City, he meets up with one of the sanitation workers in in a bar somewhere, and Carl finds out where the location of the drinking water reservoir is, and like the drinking water plant, like the filtering plant. He finds out where that is, and so what does he do? He decides, I'm going to poison the fucking drinking water and kill New York City. Mm-hmm. Luckily, Carl has run out of money and he could not afford the poison that he needed. So he's fucking pissed that he can't afford the poison that he needs to destroy New York City by poisoning the water.
What did he think? And even if he had the money, he's going to need so much of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's really annoyed that his plan, this is the perfect plan, all I need is some money. And he's pissed about it.
If he keeps fucking spending it like it's damn water, which is a good thing in this case. However.
Seriously, like this is like, in my opinion, this is like one of those times where you don't even realize how lucky you are because of XYZ, right? If this hadn't happened, it's like, when you hear about like the people who should have been in like the towers in 9/11, one man was late because he missed his train or something like that. It's like you don't realize how lucky you are until later, So New York, and in my opinion, he absolutely would have done it. And if he figured out how to do it in New York City, he would have done it everywhere. I don't think that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if he had figured it how to do it, he would have done it everywhere, and his body count would have been thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah,
just based on that alone. Yeah.
They never would have known it was him, though.
Nope. Nope.
So there's nothing
So he
tying
would
him
have
to
kept
it.
going. Nope. So
Yeah,
he would have kept going, and he would have. In my opinion, I believe that if he had figured it out in New York, he would have done it all over the country,
everywhere.
and he would have
Yep,
kept
I
doing it.
agree.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
his death toll number would have been thousands and thousands of people,
It would have
even
been
if nobody.
disgusting.
Yeah, even if nobody knew that it was attributed to him, he would know, and he would be fucking thrilled.
Yeah, and I feel
And
like
he
if he eventually, once he got caught with something major and he knew he wasn't getting out again or whatever,
that's when he would have
he
told
brought he,
us.
yeah, he would have admitted it
Mm-hmm.
at that point
Oh
because
yeah,
he knew he's
because
done.
yeah, and like within his memoir, it does really like he doesn't hold it much back. He could obviously he is a master manipulator, so he could be lying in a lot of this, but
Yeah,
he does not really shy away from anything, and he does seem like he's owning up to it a little. You know what I mean? In
yeah.
his book, he's
I
like, "Yeah, I did this and I did that. Yeah, you're right. It was I." There's a bunch of times where he uses the phrase "I beat him till his brains were coming out of his ears," um,
Jesus.
and so it's like he uses phrases like that, and it's just like, yeah, I. He's like, yeah, I did that, and so I think that if he had managed this poisoning New York City's water supply, he would have said that in the book. And then if he had
Yeah,
been able to continue doing it, that I think he would have also like owned up to those too, because he would have been proud of himself. Yeah, I
exactly.
fucking did
That's what I
that.
was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he over exaggerated some of the stuff just to make himself sound bigger than
Oh, I'm
what,
sure he did. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure he did. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure he
Huh.
did. But there are like prison records and stuff from these times where a lot of this is definitely like accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So So he can't figure out his poisoning the water supply plan, and he gets hammered because that is how Carl deals with his stress. And he walks up to a
Okay.
Navy ship. He walks up to a Navy ship on the pier and demands that they let him sign up for the Navy and to be let on board the ship. Demands it.
I don't think that's how it works to join the Navy.
They let him.
Shut up. No, they don't.
Mm-hmm. They let him. The guy
They
that he
regret
talked
it.
to, like well, okay, hold tight. The guy that he talks to, that he
Holding.
was demanding to let me on this fucking ship. The man that he was talking to within the Navy was so fucking impressed with how confident and big and strong Carl was that he was like, sure. And then he gave him his first week's paycheck in advance that very day and was like, all right, show up here tomorrow morning. So Carl is free for the evening and he drinks that entire paycheck away and he shows up and he is so drunk that he can't keep his eyes open. He can't form it was funny because the book was like he was so drunk that he couldn't even like make an excuse for himself. And they're like, all right, nope, you gotta go. And so Carl is really fucking pissed. Okay, but he is so drunk and now he's in like that sleepy drunken stupor. Lights out for
Yeah.
Carl. By the time he has sobered up and woken up and like remembered all of this, the ship had left.
No
Right.
shit. Yeah. They
Right?
knew they were
Yeah.
in
They're
trouble.
like,
They're like, oh,
we're
bye.
fucking out of here. We're the Navy and we're leaving. You stay there.
You're
We're
staying
gonna go over
here.
here. Yeah, we're gonna go over
Yeah.
here. Actually, it's like get out of the car at the gas station. Oh, will you run in real quick for a snack? And I'll be waiting here for you. Bye.
Bye.
So Carl cannot get the revenge that he wants and needs at this time, right? Because he's not gonna go after the entire. He might, I guess. He's not gonna go after
I
the
was
entire
gonna
Navy.
say.
He might try, but the boat is gone. So he decides, I'm going to take it out on somebody fucking else that has pissed me off in my past. And do you remember who sent him to Fort Leavenworth and how they tortured him in Fort Leavenworth from earlier in his life?
I don't remember who sent him
William
there,
Howard Taft. William Howard
right.
Taft. So he decides he is going to go to the house of William Howard Taft and burglarize his home and just steal all sorts of shit from William Howard Taft's home.
Jesus.
So he does.
Smart.
So he does. So Carl goes to New Haven and steals thousands and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, cash, and bonds. And his favorite thing that he stole was the 45 caliber pistol. And so his goal now is to create as much chaos and destruction and murder as he can with this 45 caliber pistol, because he knows if they are tested, the bullets, the ballistics will come back as being William Howard Taft's gun. And he wants William Howard Taft to have to answer about every single one of these shots that have been fired. I didn't know ballistics were that advanced in the 20s, but I was like, damn, Carl, that's a fucking plan.
Until he reports his gun stolen.
I know, but he has to think about it he wants William Howard Taft to think about it every time they find another one of his bullets.
Oh my god.
I know, it's not funny. It's not funny.
I wish I was as confident as this guy.
It's not funny. I'm like, just, it's not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because of the absurdity of it. It is absurd. Yeah. It's like a cartoon villain.
His planning is a little...
If he had used his brilliance for good instead of evil, he could have gotten somewhere. But people suck, and they turned him into this monster.
Yeah.
Starting with his father, who shoved a knife into his ear. So, he goes out, and he sells all the jewelry, he sells all the bonds in William Howard Taft's name, and he takes all the cash, and he takes all of that, and he gets about $3,000, even though he should have gotten closer to like 10 or 15. He gets $3,000 out of it, and he's gonna fucking take it. Do you want to know what he does with that $3,000?
Drinks it.
Nope. He decides that he wanted to get on that fucking Navy boat, and they wouldn't let him, so he takes that $3,000 and goes and buys a yacht that he named Akista.
What the fuck?
So now Carl has a boat. It's a pretty big boat, I think. I don't know.
The
Yachts
Nina,
are pretty big.
The Pinta, the Santa Maria. Do you on the... I don't remember what the rest of it is. Drinking sangrias.
Like we're drinking sangria. Boats and hoes. Honestly, that's
I was
kind of
gonna say, that's where I was going with that. He had some shenanigans on there. I don't think...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So now, he's riding his yacht all over the
Singing
East
boats
Coast.
and hoes.
And he's... Yeah, essentially. Yeah, he's the original boats
and hoes. God.
So, he's frequently stopping at, like, marinas to hop off his boat, hop onto other people's boats, steal all their booze and all of their shit, take it back over to his boat, and then he leaves again. And he is doing this for a fucking while. And he's thrilled with
How the hell is he getting away?
He's so happy with his plan here. I don't know. Because the boats have been left unattended because everybody's like up on the shore.
But they can't see somebody just...
And so he's just like, there's nobody on that boat. Apparently not. And so he's on that boat, he grabs their booze, he grabs their shit, he jumps back onto his boat, and he's out of there.
Ha, son of a...
So he is so fucking pleased with himself now, okay? He's loving this. He's loving this. He's like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I have a yacht. I have unlimited booze, essentially. And I can steal all the shit that I need to make myself some money for more booze and whatever. And gas, apparently, for his yacht. I don't know. But he decides, now he's up around Manhattan, and he decides he wants somebody to help him with this. And so he starts looking for sailors that need work.
Okay.
And he takes about 2 at a time. Yep. He takes 2 at a time. And he tells them, yep, he goes, why don't, well, because he tells them, I only need 2 extra men for this job or whatever. And if you come help me, that would be great. It's like a week in between whatever other jobs they had. And he was like, if you could come help me, I will pay you. And it's just a small job. The 3 of us can easily do it. Let's go. And people were like, hell yeah, let's go. So these men, 2 men, sign up for this. And he's like, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go get all of your stuff tonight that you're going to want to take on this boat. We're going to be out at sea for a solid week. So bring what you need for that. And I will pay you. And then, dunzo, thank you for your help. And these guys are like, hell yeah, man.
They never make it back to land.
They do
Surprise!
So, the first night they're on this boat, Carl, yeah. So the first night they're on this boat, Carl comes up with a fucking story about what they're going to do, like what the job is and whatever, and feeds them dinner, and then just essentially is just dumping booze down their throats, right?
Of course.
Then so they're fucking hammered, passing out. He strips them naked, violently rapes them, and then he kills them with Taft's gun. He ties them to a rock and throws them into the ocean.
Okay.
And then rinse and repeat. Yep, rinse and repeat. And at least 10 men were killed this way.
And they found them.
But then, I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. But he was very pleased that he got to put rounds in these people from Taft's gun. And so by 10 men, okay, at least 10 men are killed this way. And now all of these people in this tiny little island are beginning to notice that his crew kept changing so frequently.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that would have been like 5.
And they're like, yeah. And so they're starting to side-eye Carl. And Carl is, he's not dumb. And so he notices that they're starting to look at him. Right. They're like, something's going on here, buddy. So he's like, I need to change up the plan. So he leaves this little island on the city, or this little city on the island, and he goes back to Manhattan. He grabs 2 more men, and he decides he's going to keep these guys.
I don't think he has an option at this point.
And they're going to be pirates.
Oh, okay. And how does he make them into pirates?
Well, they just go up and down the East Coast, stealing everything off the other yachts like he had been doing. And after a while, Carl has pretty much had it with them. He's like, hey, this has been great. They lasted more than a day. Hey, this has been great, but, you know, your time is up. I don't need help anymore. I'm going to take you back to Long Island Beach, which is near Atlantic City in New Jersey. And he's like, I'm going to take you guys back. Your job is done. Thank you for your service. Let's go back. And he is like, I'm never going to let these men off my boat. They know me. They know too much. They're not going to get to land. But he's telling them that this is what's happening. So they start heading back to Long Beach Island here in New Jersey. And he's getting ready to kill them. But before he gets the chance, a massive fucking storm comes through and ends up sinking his boat.
Oh, karma's
but all 3 men survived somehow. Yeah. All 3 men survive. As soon as they get onto land, the 2 men start booking it. They're like, I'm getting the fast, like as far away from Carl as we possibly fucking can.
Yeah.
And they managed to get away from him, and this makes them the only two people that Carl had his sights set on for murder that got away from him. They're the only two that got away from him when he decided that they were going to die.
Did they use it against him?
No, they got away. Oh. No, because they can't find him. They were never able to find these men.
So did they?
They got away, and yeah, they did. Carl was real pissed about it. They did get away, but like they didn't like want their names like publicly released or anything, or their information used, because they were afraid Carl was going to come back.
Valid.
And like finish the job. So they tried to stay as like they tried to stay as like anonymous as they possibly could.
Yeah, it seems fair.
Yeah. So now all of the possessions that Carl had stolen sank with the boat, including
the gun.
Tasca.
Oh shoot, that's super unfortunate. Let's go find something else to cause damage with.
Yeah. So now he's fucking pissed. He was really proud of that gun. But who is he gonna take his anger out on? Mother Nature? You can't do that. That doesn't work. I've tried. Like, yeah, I hate winter. I would take it out on Mother Nature, but I can't, and neither can Carl. Although I think if anybody could find a way to do it, it would be Carl in this very moment. So he decides to go back to New Haven, where he had bought himself, or where William Howard Taft's home was, and where he stole the gun from, because New Haven is a fairly rich part, or like a fairly rich community. And he starts burglarizing all of the wealthy homes there. But he must have gotten off of his game somehow, and he tried to burglarize a house when the people were awake and at home. So they're like, homie, the fuck?
How?
And the cops get there. Carl gives them a fake name.
Of course he does.
And because this is his first offense, right? Carl gets 6 months in jail because this is his first offense.
Okay. And justice system's working great, just like it does still.
And that, I think, is where we're going to end this part, because if I start my next part, I'm going to have to keep going, and it's going to get like way too long.
Okay.
So this is like a stopping place, because Carl is going to ramp up his game, and it's going to be terrible. So this is the end of part 4. Part 5 will be the last part. It has to be, because my brain can't handle any more of Carl and his shenanigans. But yeah. So now I think he's up to 12 murders so far in this one.
Yeah. I think so.
Yep, I think 12. So, yeah.
Known.
So now we have... Yeah, known. So now we have 12 murders, and again, Lord knows how many burglaries, robberies, assaults, rapes, sodomy, stealing William Howard Taft's gun. Like, just, he's done a lot in this portion, I think. And I think that if he had just stopped here, he would have still been a really scary motherfucker.
Yeah, but he was not finished.
No. Not even close.
He was going until he was caught.
Oh, yeah. The only way he was stopping was...
Yeah.
Being... Like, the only way he was going to stop, and he knew the only way he was going to stop, was the death penalty.
Yep,
he knew that.
And it wasn't going to be done by himself.
Nope. No, he was not going to do that. But he knew that, like, all that
He had goals.
He had goals. Hold on, I want to. There's one code.
Really
I
bad
have no
one.
desire. Yeah. Well, he has goals, I guess. I have no desire whatsoever to reform myself. My only desire is to reform people who try to reform me, and I believe that the only way to reform people is to kill them. My motto is rob them all, kill them all, or rob them all, rape them all, and kill them all.
Huh.
Carl has a lot of anger inside of him. But yeah, like I said, this is like the best stopping place here, because if I keep going, there's not gonna be another good stopping place for a while.
Okay.
So
that works.
I figure an hour and a half is good, but
yeah.
Carl is going to get even worse in the next one, but it will be the last one. And just know, at the end of the next episode, Carl and his reign of terror will be stopped completely.
He gone.
Because he does get the death penalty. So
he gone.
Because he does. Spoiler alert, he gets the death penalty, but I think we can all see why.
Yeah?
Now listen, I don't quite know where I stand on the death penalty, because there are so many times where, like, wrongly convicted people get in there, and that's a fucking tragedy. But for Carl here,
it was the only way he was going to be stopped.
I think it's the only way. Yep, because you can't keep him in jail, and he's proven that
numerous
hundreds of times at this point, and he's in his 20s. Yeah, and it's like you can't stop him that way, and there's nothing else that you're gonna do
unless you hire somebody that's already in jail just to freaking kill him. But then that's already
I mean, really
creating more problems, because somebody else has to commit a crime.
Yeah. Yep. So like I said, I'm really torn on the death penalty, but in cases like this, I think there's a time and a place in certain cases, but I do think that they need to be like this, where it's just like, this is not ending. This is never going to end.
He's not staying. Yeah.
Because there's nothing else to do.
And I'm guessing by the time he gets caught, it's pretty damn clear that he has done what he's done, and there's no need to sit around and try,
Well, and like we were saying when we were talking about him wanting to poison the water, he was fucking proud of himself, and I think he would have told on himself. If they, like, when they come up to him at the end and they're like, we know you did X, Y, and Z, he'd be like, okay, but what about A, B, C, and the rest of the letter? You know what I mean? Like, so, I think that by the time he realizes he is caught for good, and they have him for good, he's just like, well, I'm going to get all the fucking credit I can.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
All that attention.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that Carl. I think that Carl's just...
he's something.
I'm very glad that we have things like security cameras and facial recognition and databases and everything, so that people like Carl can't quite get away for this long with this many things. People get away with, like Samuel Little. He was a decades long, like, serial killer, right? But eventually he got caught. And then he died, which I think was kind of a bummer, because it would have been nice to get a little more information out of him before he died, but
selfish.
But it would have been nice for those families, because he's hundreds of people, but yeah, it would have been nice for those families, and I know, but it would have been nice to get some closure for those people. But,
definitely.
Here he is. But he was also one of those that just kept fucking going. And eventually security cameras and security footage is going to catch up to you, and facial recognition and all of that stuff. And so I'm glad that we have those kinds of things now so that this doesn't go again.
Yeah.
You know? Because you can't, like, you can fake a name, but the FBI is going to have you nailed down in 30 seconds. And they're going to know you're giving them a fake name. Like, that's not how that works, you know? It's not like they're just getting their information. Jesus. Sorry. They're not getting their information from the newspaper or something.
Huh. All right.
So, yeah. So, Carl is about to get even worse, even though this part was pretty bad.
Okay.
But it is only going to get worse.
We got one left, though, so that's...
One left. There will be no more. My brain just can't do Carl anymore.
Nope.
Honestly, if I could have fit everything into this episode and just done the 4th episode and called it a day, I fucking would have.
I think it would have got too long.
But I couldn't. There's just. Well, not only that, but there would have been stuff that, like, wouldn't have been included.
That's what I'm saying. If you would have had to cut some stuff out, otherwise it would have been far too long.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I want to do it justice because it is, because we're this far in, but because he's just led such a fucking destructive, monstrous life.
Ugh. All right.
So we're up to 12 murders, thousands of acts of sodomy and rape, 1 million burglaries, I think, at this point we can maybe say. I don't know. And I think he's seen nearly every state at this point, honestly.
Yeah, that's something to be proud of, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Next up, the world.
Yay.
We go international, baby.
Oh.
Yay.
You serious?
He's really pissed about his yacht.
Oh,
I'm serious. He's really pissed about the fact that his yacht sank and he still wants to be on the water. So we go international.
All right. Baby. Well, I guess we'll see.
Got something to look forward to next time.
We'll see where he goes on the next episode. Woo! The Travels of Carl Panzram. Here we go. All right.
Yeah. So do all the things like, subscribe, follow, share.
Whatever.
All the things.
Yeah.
You know the drill.
Else says. I always cut off podcasts when they start spieling about that, so I'm not going to be one of them.
I do too. Yeah. No. You know what to do. Let us know if you have any other topic sources, because I need something less dastardly than Carl for the next one. I know I have an idea, but if you have any ideas, let me know.
Shoot it our way.
Something you would want to hear that is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I would appreciate.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.